Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 9 of DraftKings kicks off just like 48 hours from now. We're going to take questions for the next 45 minutes to an hour from my chat over here on Twitch. We'll be live again on Twitch in the 45 minutes before kickoff. So be sure that you come over to the Twitch channel. It's basically everywhere for you to be able to find it. smizzle.tv/live. You can go to the link tree and find it in there. And I'll be live the 45 minutes before lock, taking all of your last minute questions. But right now we're going to take an overarching look. We're starting to come in for a landing. We're still kind of at 30,000 feet. We're going to take a look at the cash game build. Any questions that anybody has for tournaments throughout the chat. There's a lot of running backs in play this week. We'll build an underdog, pick them, because why not? It's fun. So let's bring in the chat. Let's go.
He's a legend.
Before we get started, I did want to remind you about the Smiz Gang Listener League. Go down below in the pinned comment. Hit a like on the pinned comment. Let me know that you've seen it, right? If you go to smizzle.tv/links, you can find the link to the Listener League. It is the only way to get in there because it is not a game that's in the lobby. There's absolutely no rake in this game, so they're not going to publish it in the lobby. You got to be a listener, a viewer, to be able to find the actual Listener Viewer League. 4,500 seats, $10 to enter, 3 max, absolutely no rake. The best tournament that is out there on DraftKings. I'm going to shout out the top 10 finishers in the recap video on Monday on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. The link to that is also in the link tree, smizzle.tv/links, as well as like everything else, Instagram, the Twitch stream, all of it. You can find everything that I do, Best Buys, which is my article on ESPN. All of that is available at smizzle.tv/links, and reserve your Listener League seats today. Chad says, Deion Jackson probably going to go for 40. So like running backs is easily the deepest position on the board, and it has been all season long. This is the time historically on DraftKings, week in, week out, every single year, where they start to tighten the screws on the running back pricing. However, with all the teams that are off the main slate, the Browns are off the main slate with Nick Chubb, Cowboys with either one of Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard coming off the huge game he had last week, the Giants with Saquon Barkley, Najee Harris and the Steelers, even though he's not having a good year, and 49ers with Christian McCaffrey. We just don't see those high-priced running backs on the slate. And then you also had the Eagles off the slate, 2 really good running backs in that game with him and the Texans, the Ravens off the slate, the Saints with Kamara off the slate, and the Titans and Derrick Henry off the slate. So all of the high dollar running backs are off, and it seems like it's masking the fact that I think in week 10, we have no salaries for week 10 yet. This is just me telling you, week 9 and 10, running back prices start to go really high on DraftKings every year since like 2015. That's just how they do it. It's the origin. It's the origin story of like how we came up with Team Jam 'em in, because back in 2016, pull up a seat, children, while I sit down in my rocking chair with my corncob pipe and tell you a story. When Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson were like the 2 best running backs in the league, because they'd get 10 targets and 30 points every single week because of how much usage they had in the run game, the pass game, as well as scoring like 15 touchdowns, 20 touchdowns each. They were like 7K the whole year. Then all of a sudden, week 9, week 10, they started like raising their price. See if people would still pay. How about 8,500 for both of them? You gonna pay that? How about 9,000 for both? You gonna pay that? And then it was like a week where like one was 10-2 and the other one was 9-9. And on the Edge podcast, Adam, Pete, and I were like, okay, what are you gonna do? They're this expensive. I don't know. I'm gonna find a way to jam them in there, man. And that's how Team Jam 'em in came to be a thing. Just play the dudes, right? And so I kind of feel like we're seeing it this week. Austin Eckler's 8,800. Think about all those other running backs I just named that are off the slate. They all come back to the main slate the next few weeks. So this may be the last week that we're going to be able to see these 30-point plus running backs on ceiling. Like this week, the only guy that really has a projectable ceiling above 30 points is Austin Eckler. All the others have 25-point ceiling type ranges at the top 75%, 80% of their range. But like they got to really do something to get above 30, where like all those other guys who like, if they score 30 points, Christian McCaffrey scores 30, you're like, yeah, he should do that. Derrick Henry, he should do that. Saquon Barkley, sure, it's a part of his game. We haven't seen him do it this year, but it's certainly part of his game. Nick Chubb definitely can do that. So with all those guys coming back in the slate later, expect like 9K plus for running backs moving forward. It's just going to be a thing. But then we have a ton of value around them. Like Aaron Jones is 7,400, Eno Benjamin 5,900, Joe Mixon 6,500, Devin Singletary 57, Fournette is 66, Stevenson is criminal at 62. That's an absurd price for him. Etienne Jr. probably going to be the highest played running back this week at 6,300. See, chat, Mixon 65? Yeah, Mixon 65. Etienne 63. You're telling me that you can't start a cash game lineup this week? So like, I guess if we're going to talk cash game core, which is what you guys like to think, hey, talk to us about cash. Like, first of all, if you want to talk about cash, make sure that you join our Discord community. It is very important. Go to smizzle.tv/discord. You have to be a channel member. There are open channels in there, but there's like 5 people that hang out in the open channels. Like, we have 7,000 people in Discord. Like, 5 of them hang out in the open channels. If you become a Discord or a YouTube channel member or a subscriber on Twitch, they both get the same perms. You get all the VIP channels that are in Discord. That's where our cash game group tries to come up with the optimal lineup every single week. That's where we talk about tournament strategy. That's where I sweat the games all Sunday in the live channel for the subs. It's locked behind that subscription on Twitch or a channel member here on YouTube. So become a member today, smizzle.tv/join. But as far as like a cash game core, he, in my opinion, is going to be the most played running back. For tournaments, it may be a different perspective because I think that there are a lot of players. You know, there's just a lot of players at running back. I just rattled off like 9 of them. So like, I'm not sure that there is another lock player, must play, have to play him. I think the closest thing to one on that list is Ramondre Stevenson, based on the fact that he's had 4 or more catches 5 of the last 6 weeks. He just has this remarkable floor. He's scored 20 points or more on DraftKings 5 of the last 6 weeks. Yes, Damian Harris is a thing and he exists, right? But 21 points, all volume, no touchdowns, right? 23.8 points, 1 touchdown. 22.5 points, no touchdowns. 20 points, 1 touchdown. You want that mid-teen floor for a guy that's 6,200 with the ability to get you in the mid-20s as well for this salary and 4x in cash. So like, in my opinion, Ramondre is a play that I'm going to play in cash this week. I think that he is part of my cash game core with Etienne, even if Etienne's just for the block. I think that there are paths to fading Etienne in tournaments because of the fact that we want him. It's like, here's the difference between our cognitive biases, between us as players who understand what Etienne's profile was in college, what we believe his skill set is in the pros, versus the assumption of rational coaching and how they're actually deploying him. He has 16 targets over the last 5 games. He has 15 targets over the last 4 games. These are rookie numbers. We need to pump these up right here. The volume was good last week on the ground. I love the fact that he's got this big playability, but like, as you guys know, this is as much of a red flag to me. Like, the big plays for running backs are as much of a red flag to me, especially when they end in touchdowns, as anything else. Because if he doesn't have this one big play a week, he's got very pedestrian weeks. Now, clearly it's a part of his skill set, but that sort of efficiency is not sustainable, at least on an every week basis. The same exact thing that I said last week or the last 2 weeks about Ken Walker, right? Ken Walker is a fantastic player. Etienne is a fantastic player, but there are paths to him whiffing, where if he just runs, if he has a 15-yard long, right? And he only gets 14 carries, then they only give him like 3 targets. Like, there's paths to failure for Etienne Jr. I do think that he's not going to fail, and I think that he's the right play in cash. And if he's like 60% plus in cash, which I do project he will be, at least in high stakes, even if he bricks, it's not going to hurt you. You can still beat them in other places. Cash game quarterback, kind of feel like there's 2, and they lead you to very different builds. One is Josh Allen, the highest floor and the highest ceiling at quarterback. And then if you're not paying for him, you're coming all the way down to somebody like Justin Fields, who is giving you enough of a floor with his rushing ability to pay off this 5x salary, or this 5,300 salary, where if he gets you like 17, 19, if he gets you 20 points and 4x is his salary, like, you're thriving. That's all that there is to it. And then you can afford basically everything else. So like, who you plug in at the quarterback spot is going to determine who you plug in everywhere else. And all the injuries are starting to roll in right now, with Chuba Hubbard being out for this weekend and Jonathan Taylor being out for this weekend. So we have somebody like Deion Jackson who's back in play. The last time that he was the main guy without Nyheim Hines, who has now been traded, who was injured this week in week 6, and without Jonathan Taylor, he scored 28 fantasy points. A bit of caution, they ran 87 plays that week. He played 54 snaps out of the 87 that they played, caught 10 of 10 targets coming his way. So take that down to like the 65 normal plays that they play, and you'd have to subtract like 17 of the snaps. He'd play like 30 something snaps, and he's not going to get 22 touches on 30 something snaps. So like, He's 5,200. He's certainly a release valve. He's not going to be really highly played because New England is a very good defense. He's not in cash game consideration for me. I think that if you're going for another cash game running back, it's going to be somebody like Eckler, especially with everybody else out on that offense. If you think that the offense will operate well against Atlanta, then you're going to pay for Eckler, or you're going to come down. I think it's a 3 running back week in cash is kind of what I'm trying to tell you. Come down to somebody like Aaron Jones, or come way down, depending on which quarterback you pick, to like 6,500 for a Joe Mixon. Like that's a smaller cash game core than usual, but it is what it is. Like, you're either paying up for Eckler, you're paying up for Josh Jacobs. I think you can get 2 $8,500 players, and I believe that you're paying for Tyreek Hill against Chicago. I think everything against Chicago is in play for the rest of the season. They were already a team that we were streaming running backs against, and now they traded like 2 of their best players, a pass rusher and Roquan Smith as well. So like they're just going to be a team we're going to attack constantly for the rest of the season, like we've been attacking Houston all year long. Like, that's my cash game talk for you. If you want more, join the Discord. That's the best I can do for you. Any cash wide receivers in the sub 6K range? Oh yeah, most definitely every week. they traded their only guys that can tackle. They're gone. Yes. Is it a 3 running back week in GPP? It very well could be. It has been for the last couple of weeks, because the value guys are like 5 to 6K, and the value guys who are 5 to 6K aren't 30.5 point guys, right? They're not guys who aren't involved in the passing game. They're 15 plus carry, 6 plus target guys. That's like a 14 point ceiling, or sorry, 14 point floor, 25 to 30 point ceiling. So they've been very safe for that mid-range value, and we have a lot of them in that range, right? Like, let's just focus on 5,200. Let's go 65 to 50 or 66 to 52. And let's just count with me, chat. Pretend this is Sesame Street for a second. Count with me. Leonard Fournette. I don't care what you think about Uncle Lenny, whatever your biases are with him or against him, how inefficient he's been or whatever, how bad this Buccaneers offense has been. You got to admit, he's at least viable for tournaments. He's had a 22-point day. He's had a 36-point day, an 18-point day. Like, if he gets one of those 6-7 target guys, you're good, right? One of those games. Joe Mixon, most definitely in play. You're afraid of the Swift injury? Fine, I get it. You know, if you don't want to play him, fine, I get it. Green Bay's been really bad. Dan Campbell just said this morning they're gonna run him out there this week and see how he feels. So if you want to avoid him, go ahead. Right? If you think that he's gonna have one of those big weeks, go ahead. He's lower on the list for me in this range. ETN, probably going to be the highest played player at the position. Ramondre Stevenson looks like he's going to be lower percentage than some other guys. I think he's a fantastic play. I really do. Ken Walker, high floor. Not a high floor of touches, unreliable floor because of the inactivity in the passing game. That's just how they utilize the running, but massive big playability. So like, he's a perfect GPP guy to me, especially at 6,200. Mostert, same thing. We stream running backs against Chicago, right? We did that before they traded the 2 of their front 7 that could tackle. We're going to keep doing that now. Massive big playability. Big difference though. Not a cash play, more of a GPP play because of the big difference between his floor and his ceiling. And it's going to give you leverage off of all of the Tua stacks because people are going to play Miami wide receivers because they're good. They're very good at what they do. So you'd leverage off of that. Montgomery, if you want to, sure. Like, he's fine. He's splitting with 2 other guys, one of them being Fields, the other one being Herbert. So you're never going to get like a 25 touch day out of him anymore. But like, they're giving him 15 carries every single game. It's just a matter of if he busts one. Which he has not done yet, but though he does have good metrics, but he's capped. Not really a lot of usage in the passing game. And splitting with Herbert, who's also getting 15 to 20 touches or opportunities per game. And Justin Fields is running it 8 to 12 times a game. If you don't believe in if you don't believe in Swift, you're going to go to Jamal Williams, who has all of the inside the 5 usage, all of the touchdown upside, 20-point ceiling, 25-point ceiling there. Eno Benjamin is 5,900. If James Conner's out, you know what type of usage he's going to get, and high floor because of the usage in the passing game in one of the higher totaled games of the day at 49 and a half there. Khalil Herbert, I'm not playing running backs in the Bears. I'm just going to tell you, I'm probably not going to have much or any of those guys. I might have one of them as a bring back in terms. Like, it's not really thrilling to me. There's a lot of plays in this range. Carter is 5,500 going up against Buffalo. You think that the Jets are going to be playing from behind this week? Then they're going to have to throw the ball. If they throw the ball a ton, Michael Carter's the best passing back that they have, pass catching back that they have. 7, 8, 9 targets are certainly in play for him. And then Deion Jackson down at 5,200. There's a lot of plays in this range. There's just a lot of, we don't know if Cordero is going to be back. They've designated him for return. That means they have 3 weeks. So if he's back, he reassumes the lead job here at home against the Chargers team that has struggled to stop opposing running backs. So like, there's so many running backs to play. And then the question was, what about sub 6K receivers? Yeah, there's a lot of them. Lazard, 6K against Detroit. Anything's in play against Detroit. If Lazard plays, he's questionable, you know, he's limited participant Thursday, monitor the Friday practice report. If he's out, then Dobbs is going to go through the roof. McLaurin, 5,900, has been unlocked seemingly with the change in quarterback because he'll just chuck it downfield. Heineke just throws it. DJ Moore, he's a cash game play at 5,800. Also viable in tournaments going up against Cincinnati and the high volume of targets he gets. Christian Kirk is 5,500. Really good floor of targets there. Same with Myers. Really good floor of targets here. Josh Palmer. Everybody's out at wide receiver. The Chargers wide receiver room this week is tragic. It's horrible. Where's Chargers? I always look in the afternoon for them. They're playing in the morning. Mike Williams out. Keenan Allen not expected to play. Like his hamstring, they said, is worse now than it was before. So now there are 3 wide receivers. Oof, it's not good. Joshua Palmer, 5,100. DeAndre Carter, 12 targets the last 2 games. He's not great. He's 4,300. And like something named Michael Bandy got 6 targets last week. I don't know. And for some reason, Gerald Everett's 4,800. Nobody's going to pay 4,800 to get him. Nobody's paying 4,800 to get Gerald Everett, right? So he's not a cash play. Even though he's going to get a good amount of targets, he's fine in tournaments because people aren't going to want to pay up. Like there's so many other tight ends that are going to get similar targets to Gerald Everett that like I think they have to force 10, 14 targets to Austin Eckler this week. It's gross. People are skipping right over Carter. I just talked about him. Would I break the rules and play Deion Jackson and Stevenson in the same lineup to get the players I want in GPP? Probably not. I don't think it's necessary. There's so many running backs that you can totally get there. Did that say reception long of -5 yards? Yes. They throw like wide receiver screens behind the line of scrimmage, and if it gets blown up, then it just gets blown up. So with Fields, how correlated are you looking to make the rest of the lineup since we aren't looking to double stack him? I think you can stack the other way. Yes, you can break the rules. You can play Justin Fields alone in tournaments because is there a path to Justin Fields having a 25-point day and not bringing other players along with him, right? Can that happen? Is that a possibility? And I would argue yes, because he's done it for 2 straight weeks, you know, where he's scored in the mid-20s. 26 points in week 8, 24 points this week. Yes, he threw for a touchdown, but he's only completing 17, 13, 14, 15 passes. Not because he's been inefficient, just because they run the football. I always go back to the DeMarco Murray Cowboys from a few years ago. Was that 2017, 2018, somewhere in that range, 2016, whatever year it was, I forget, when he had like 450 touches that year. And the Cowboys had just such a terrible defense. Like it was historically bad. Their defense was historically bad. There's no 2 ways about it. Metrically, on a per play basis, on like EPA per play, they were horrible. They were really, really bad, right? So like the only way the Cowboys could be a winning team or have a winning expectation would be, how about we just don't let the other team have the ball and we just play keep away whenever we have this great offensive line and we have a running back. Let's just give it to him 5,000 times. And the Bears are kind of doing the same thing right now. They're not doing it as efficiently, but the Bears are going to try and run the ball 45 times. They're going to run it 15 plus with Montgomery. They're going to run it 15 plus with Herbert, and they're going to run it 10-ish with Fields. 40 rushes minimum incoming from the Bears. So what that does is it slows down the game. There's less plays to be played. The other side of it doesn't get the ball. You're going to, if you can sustain drives and move the sticks with as well as they have been running the ball, the other team just doesn't get to touch it. The other side of that is they just don't throw it. So like Fields can get there. He can get you 24, 25. And the way that like, again, it's tougher this way, right? Not impossible. It's tougher. But like if you go with Justin Fields, you click him into a lineup. Typically we double stack the quarterback because if they have a tournament winning week, a tournament viable week, that means 30 plus points from the quarterback. Typically when a quarterback has 30 plus points, you look at the numbers that they put up, right? Days that I'm using Josh Allen because he has the most 30-point games. 27 completions, 329, 3 touchdowns. 39 fantasy points, 20 completions, 4 touchdowns, 424 yards. 30 points, 42 completions, full PPR, guys. This is a lot of catches. 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. 32 points, 26 catches. I'm talking about the other side of this. 26 catches, 4 touchdowns, 300 yards. You're getting opportunities at the bonus. You're getting opportunities at 6, 7, 8 catches per receiver. You're getting an opportunity at multiple touchdowns for receivers. So that's why we double stack, because when you double stack, I broke this all down. It's pinned in the Discord. It's on my Twitter account if you want to look for it. I did a whole thread on it earlier this season of historically the last like 3 to 4 years. When a quarterback has 30 fantasy points, this is what else goes along with it. It totals up to like 108 points average from the stack, because usually the majority of the time when a quarterback has 30 or more DraftKings points, historically the last 3.5 years, they average 35. So as long as Josh Allen doesn't run away and have like a 40 or a 44 point fantasy day, Justin Fields can keep up with a 25 point day, and then you can wrap everything else around it. So like, what if you were to do something silly, like say, you know what, I want to stack Tua, but I can't really afford what I want. But like, what if you did this and like just said that? Single stack Fields, you have a running back, a quarterback, maybe Mooney catches a touchdown, and then you have these two. Just do it the other way, right? And you save yourself a little bit of money from doing that. What if you say, I can't afford, we talked about this yesterday on stream. What if your thought is, I want to stack the Bills because I want to have Diggs, Davis, and I want to have Josh Allen, but that leaves me in dire situations with the rest of my team. Whether you're bringing this back with Wilson, or you're bringing it back with Carter, or you're bringing it back with Gronklin, whoever you're bringing it back, like, you're in dire straits now. You've got to find value. But like 25, 33, 27 against Pittsburgh, 33 against Kansas City. What did he have against Green Bay? 25.8. Josh Allen had 19 points that week. Week 4 against Baltimore, Josh Allen only had 24.5 points. Still completed 19 passes. Still threw a touchdown. So what if you did that, but instead you break the rules? Say, I'm going to play this double stack of his pass catchers because they can get there on if he has 30, if he has 28, they can still have this really big day, but then you can get 25 from Fields, 23 from Fields. So you're only 7 points off there, but now you've got 3K more to spend somewhere else that other people aren't going to have. I think that it's okay to break the rules, specifically in certain situations, and especially with a running quarterback that does not throw the ball a lot at all. Double stacks, you need volume, right? And it's not about, well, Justin Fields, if he has a 30-point day, what does his 30-point day look like? If Trevor Lawrence has a 30-point day, what does his 30-point day look like? Because Trevor Lawrence's 30-point day, Joe Burrow's 30-point days look a lot different than Justin Fields' 30-point days. Fields the only QB I'd break the rules with this week on this particular slate? Yes. Most often, I don't break the rules. Last week, we had a break the rules situation with Ellinger. He was 4K. Mariota, what does a 30-point day look like for Marcus Mariota? Because Mariota is way more extreme, right? Mariota is way more extreme. Like, they don't run him that much is the problem. Take a look at his box scores. They don't run him a lot. Week 1, they did. They ran him 12 times. He gets 6 rushes a game. That's it. 6, 6, 6, 7, 5, 7, 6. They don't run him a ton. You know, the problem, this game, it still pisses me off. Things piss me off, okay? They were behind double digits for 93% of their offensive snaps, and they ran it, they threw it 13 times. That causes me great anger. And then they get in a game against Carolina, they throw it 28 times. This makes no sense right here. This makes no sense. They were playing from ahead in this game, and they threw it more than a game that they were behind double digits. Makes no sense to me. It's like Leftwich saying this week that, like, well, you need to run the ball for play action to work. That is provably false. That is grounds for firing. If I'm an owner of a team and my offensive coordinator who calls all the plays says to the press, we can't run play action if we can't run the ball, man, you got to go. We know that's not true. Play action isn't about you having run the ball successfully. It's about the threat of the run on that one play and what it does to safeties and linebackers. You can run play action and have it be successful and never run the football once in a game, because what if it's this time? What if they run it? You got to cover it. You got to hold.
He's a legend.
The Nyber, thank you very much for the 13 months. So like I said, it's what does a 30-point game look like? I don't know if there's a possible 30-point day in Marcus Mariota. I mean, I guess it's possible, right? If he runs it 6 times for 50 yards and a touchdown, throws for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns like he did last week against Carolina, then he can get there. And then you had like a 20-point day from Kyle Pitts. It's just so impossible for him to get there because they just don't throw it. At least the Bears are throwing it 25 times. And they went out and got a talented wide receiver, a freak of an athlete at wide receiver to give them somebody else on the other side. JT and Ryan both out. Pat's defense. Yeah, sure. That even if JT was in, Pat's defense was fine. I think the Buccaneers defense is fine at 3K. I think that the Panthers defense is fine at 2,300. Play action never works unless you run the ball 30.64 yards and not a damn yard less. Exactly. But target defenses against teams that are going to drop back and pass. Like, I would not, playing defenses against Atlanta feels great until they never, like, it's hard to score defensive points when they run the ball. Yeah, Matt Ryan. He's not starting the rest of the year. Ellinger is the starter. Pat's D at 4,100 is rough. Great for tournaments, though. Is it viable to pair Aaron Jones with Aaron Rodgers? I would not do that, personally. As always, do whatever you want to do, right? I'm merely giving you my best answer to these questions and telling you what I would consider doing. If you want to do something different, you're the one that has to own your lineups. You're the one who's going to click submit. I would say no. Aaron Jones, like, we can look at this, right? This is the entire season. So, like, it incorporates every game. And if players miss, like, it's going to drop things. So, like, you know, like Randall Cobb is sitting at 9.45 of the target market share in Green Bay. But that includes other guys who, like, there have been pass attempts in games that he missed. So, like, looking at this just for an overarching view is one thing. But the reality of it is, in games that he's been active, he's seen a higher target percentage than 9.45. This is just kind of a snapshot. So Aaron Jones, like 14%. I don't want that, right? If I'm going to pair my running back, the point of double stacking is to get away from that. Now, things are more viable when you're playing the Lions because they just give up 30 fantasy points and there's a lot more touchdowns to go around in those games. But, like, you look at a team like this, Austin Eckler's getting 22%. That's wide receiver market share. You know, that's wide receiver market share right there is 22%. Most running backs sit sub 15, right? Which is where Gerald Everett's been. So, like, I want to get guys that have a different type of market share at targets when if I'm going to pair them. So it's very rare that I'm willing to pay. I was willing to do it last week with Dalton Stacks with Kamara because we knew Kamara was going to get like 8-9 targets. Then that running back really correlates well with the quarterback. But if the quarterback is going to throw it to him between 3 and 7 times, that's not very good correlation. And secondly, Aaron Jones is going to be really highly played. So you're not playing Aaron Jones with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it might be a little more unique. You're like, hey, I have a different unique lineup. But, like, the point of playing that is like, well, I think Aaron Jones is going to have, like, he's going to be chalk. But if he fails, and there's always paths to running backs failing, right? It's the most dangerous position in football. The worst thing you hear every Sunday is such and such a running back is in the tent. You don't want that. That could just be, well, he put his shoulder down and the defender put his shoulder down and they knocked heads and now he's concussed and I've lost the guy in the halfway through the first quarter on the second drive of the game for because he thinks he's Batman. That's not great. So the reason you play Aaron Rodgers and double stack Aaron Rodgers is because you think that he is going to be the answer against Detroit and throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns and 290 plus yards and complete 25 balls. And the combination of him plus 2 wide receivers, or sorry, 2 pass catchers, is going to be less widely held in total than Aaron Jones. And it's direct leverage off of Aaron Jones if Aaron Jones has 0 touchdowns on the day. That's why we double stack. Playing Trevor Lawrence stacks this week is as much about attacking the defense that he's playing and capturing the value at the salaries that him and his pass catchers are at, as much as it is about leveraging off of the 30% to 45% of people who are going to be on Travis Etienne. Who's AR? Allen Robinson? I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what you. Aaron Rodgers? I mean, it's a good spot. What's his? Okay, so here's how I feel I have to answer this question. What is Aaron Rodgers' upside this week? 31 real life points, 24 real life points, 29 real life points, 48 real life points, 28 real life points, 27 real life points, 38 real life points. That's his upside. Who are the cash game locks? I talked about the cash game stuff earlier in the video. There's less this week than on other weeks, but, like, I think there's 2 quarterbacks in play. There's a lot of running backs, but I think it should center around a couple of the 6K guys. But, like, that's his upside. His upside is that he throws for that Detroit is just broken defensively, and he throws for 3 touchdowns and like 290 plus yards because somebody gets, no, I understand. It's all right, Coach Garrett, that somebody gets behind the defense. And also the Lions team is built to attack the Packers defense. You know, the Lions do stuff offensively that the Packers don't defend well. So there's a very good possibility that the Lions score points in this game. So like in the chance that they score points, if Lazard is in, Lazard, Dobbs, Tanyan are in play. If Lazard is out, Dobbs becomes extremely popular, and then find something on the other side. So Amon-Ra, yes. Khalif Raymond, yes. I think Khalif Raymond is a big fat yes this week. I don't think he scores 30 points. I got to put that out there because somebody's going to be like, you said that Khalif Raymond was a big fat yes, and he only had 12 fantasy points, and he killed me. If Khalif Raymond has 12 fantasy points, he did not kill you. You know, that is what it is. Chances seem pretty low for 290 and 3 TDs. Okay, but that's why he's a tournament play. Chances seem pretty low for anybody in this chat to win a tournament this week. But we play the game because there's a probability of us winning that tournament, just like there's a probability of Aaron Rodgers doing what I said Aaron Rodgers could do. It's not out of the realm. I didn't say he was going to throw for 450 and 5. I said he's playing the Lions. So if they score 30 points, how do they score 30 points? If they score 17, yeah, he's not going to win you a tournament. I could say this for everyone. Khalif, if Josh Reynolds is out, or it doesn't matter. Here's why I think it doesn't matter. I think Khalif Raymond is a play right now with Josh Reynolds active, okay, at 4K. We got to find some value. DraftKings has tuned up the wide receiver position so tightly. They've wound it so tightly that the value is between like 5,000, 5,200 and like 7,000. That's where there's nobody under 4K. Last week, the key player to winning tournaments was Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is the guy that you needed in week 8 to win because nobody else under 5K that was at all playable scored any points, right? Everybody else that might have scored points was pretty much excluded. You know, Gronklin turned into a good play. Yes, but he wasn't like, you didn't have to have him to win because like Pitts had 20 points too. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, 21% of target market share, but like he's going to be closer to 28, 30. This is including the games he was out. Josh Reynolds, 18%. That's about all that he can sustain. 17% for TJ Hawkinson. He gone. He's not on the team no more. He's gone. TJ Hawkinson just vacated 17% of the target market share. And Khalif Raymond, everybody loves Raymond, 14.5, 10.6 the last 2 weeks, 5 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, 4 targets. Okay, Al, but that's just luck. Maybe he's not a good play. He's not really out there. Looking at his last 4 games, working backwards, week 8 to week 5. He played 54 of 60 snaps against the Dolphins, 53 of 59 snaps against the Cowboys, 56 of 66 snaps against the Patriots. Those are the last 3. He's always on the field. And now 17% of the targets are going to be redistributed somewhere else. He's not going to catch all of them. He's not going to step into like a 25% market share. And Amon-Ra St. Brown isn't going to get all 17% of those targets just falling to him. He'll get 8 to 12 targets a week, Amon-Ra. Josh Reynolds will get 6, 7 targets a week. The backup tight end, maybe they get 4. There's other targets to be had. And the guy that's on the field is Khalif Raymond. So like, it's along the lines, this is the worst part. Like, I'm going to say this and people are going to overreact. Right now, Khalif Raymond at 4K in week 9 is a similar play to Mac Hollins from whatever week the hell it was earlier this season when I drafted him in the cage match on a Wednesday. I'm not expecting him to go off the way Mac Hollins went off that week is really the problem. But he's on the field all the time running routes. And there are 17% of the targets that have been vacated. Much like that week with Mac Hollins, he was on the field all the time, already getting targets in an offense. And then like Renfro was out or Waller was out or both were out. So you have a guy who's already integrated into the offense and other percents of targets were being vacated. Very similar situation to the decision point. Opinion on Marshall and Watkins. I hate Watkins. I'm never gonna. If Watkins goes off and scores 35 points, I'm just not winning a GPP that day. I refuse. He's terrible. Terrace Marshall, very similar to Raymond in the sense that he stepped into a higher volume role, probably merit-based. He had a very high profile coming out of college. Very good athlete, and has 12 targets the last 2 games, a high of 9 and a low of 3. We'll see. You know, who should you drop if you activate Kyron Williams in season long? MVS, Zay Jones, or CEH? I think Williams is the worst of that 4. I think Williams probably has more tradability, you know, more value in a season long, even though I don't think he has more on-field value, like scoring points for you, than Zay Jones. Cam Akers is back now, apparently. Like, I think Marshall is fine at 3,900. I mentioned him earlier this week. I think I put him in the first look lineup, didn't I? Cam Akers becoming a thing again would fit this year. Yeah, like, what if like, I'm not saying that he's going to be a thing, like he's a must, right? But like, what if they just muck things up? What if it's just like 30% Cam Akers, 40% Henderson, and like 25% Kyron Williams? Like, and just make it like, oh, this sucks. We're going to make this suck for all the fantasy guys out there. Khalif in cash, Zay Jones projecting really high. I think he's equal to Zay Jones. I think he's that caliber of play. It's shocking me that Zay Jones is projecting for the percentage that Zay Jones is on a couple of different projection sites. Not for the number, but the percentage, the tournament percentage that they're projecting. Like he said, like over 20% on one site. Like if Zay Jones is 20%, I would be shocked. Jags are the team this week where everybody is projecting well, but they ain't all going to get there. Yeah, they're all cheap though. Clay loved them. Go listen to the 06010 podcast this week. Clay absolutely loves them this week. And he's not an idiot. You know, Mike's a really sharp dude. Like, there's certain people when they say a thing, I kind of like, let me hear what they have to say. And I agree with them. That like, look, Las Vegas is really bad defensively. They're not good. Yeah, hot take, Mike Clay, not an idiot. Not at all. He's not even idiot adjacent. Except when he's on a podcast with me, then he's idiot adjacent. But like Trevor Lawrence, 5,200, everybody's going to be on ETN. So this is the way you leverage off of that. Pick 2. There's 4 guys to pick from. Let's go back to Savant. Let's go back to Idiot Savant. NFL Idiot Savant. Targets. I like the visuals on this site. Like, people are like, oh, what's that site? I was like, guys, I just put it up because it's easy to have as a background. It's easy for people that are viewing to read. Like, and I hover over it, it gives me the percentage. Like, it's really good for videos. They do a great job on this. But like Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram has so many targets right now. I told y'all Evan Ingram's gonna be a thing. I want to run around the house doing the airplane, just being right about Evan Ingram this year. And then along came Jones at 16%. So like there's 4 guys that are like pretty all right. They aren't expensive. You can do this, then like you can fill the tight end spot, then pick a Raider. I don't know. He's good. Sure. Look how much money we have left. You remember that Josh Allen stack that left you with like 4,000? Like you can do that. Like what if what if we do that for less money, right? You can basically do anything you want with this. What if we did this? And then what can we afford? Can we afford him? I think so. Like the Jag stack is so cheap and it's great leverage off of ETN chalk. Like plug in a defense, like here, cheap defense, right? Let's go with that. There, you have 6,000 remaining. It's a lot. They unlock a lot for you. The question is, and this is the question that I think you need to ask. I've said this before. I will say it again. All of your questions can't just be about the one thing. You have to look deeper. What percent is the stack going to be held in tournaments? Part 2 of this question, what is the probability of Trevor Lawrence having 27.5 plus DraftKings points? I use 30 because it's a nice round number and people understand 30. And like we work in a base 10, so like it's just 30 is like a number and people are like, well, what if he has 28.7 or more points? People are like, I don't understand what that means. Okay, 30 or more. Oh, I understand 30. What percent chance does Trevor Lawrence throw for 300 plus, 3 touchdowns, maybe run for 1? It's not 0, right? It's clearly a non-0% chance. So you have to ask yourself, is it 2? Is it 12? Yeah, 50. Everything is 50-50. He either will or he won't, right? It's the old, God damn it. You're getting me into like college courses now. The final for the class is prove to me that the chair exists. Prove to me that this chair exists. You just write in the blue book, what chair? Ain't no chair. So if the probability of the thing happening that you need to happen is greater than the percentage that it's going to be held in tournaments, then it's a good tournament play. Like if Jacksonville double stacks are going to be 20% held in tournaments and the probability of it happening is 10%, then it's a terrible tournament play on the numbers. Because even when you win, you've still got to beat twice the amount of people. Do I like Wright or Jay Mitchell as a punt tight end for Detroit? I don't know yet, honestly. I wish I could tell you. Let's go over to Underdog. Let's go build an Underdog a pick'em sheet. Let me refresh them. Head over here to NFL. Let's find something that we like. If you don't have an account over to Underdog, be sure that you use that promo code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE. Get you up to $100 first time deposit bonus to the site. They just drop it right in your account. 7 receptions is a lot. Justin Fields, 0.5. I love these. Like the yes or no, just binary. Is he going to throw an interception or not? You only get like 20 chances for that one. Hell, we just talked all about the Jaguars. Let's do the Jaguars. Let's go over 240. Let's go over and over. Now I got to find something on the other side. I got to find something Raider. Give me something Raider. The Raiders. 6.5 receptions is a lot, but I think he beats that this week. I think they have to get him the ball through the air. I think it's going to have to happen. I'm going to do that for $50. Make sure to use that that promo code when you want to get in. That's going to hopefully win us $500 over on Underdog Fantasy. I think that's my stupid. See how much time that takes me? 95 and 70, or was I? Yeah, it was 95 and 70 on the year on props, picking only overs and taking absolutely no time. The Discord is the best. I'm telling you guys, the Discord is absolutely the best. It's $5 a month to become a channel member on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch, but like access to the community that we have in Discord is massive. The kicker props, yeah, like over 1 field goal or over 2 field goals. Like, will they get 2 field goals in the game? Those are good ones. We should do a kicker 5 for 5. So much value in the VIP. There is.
Hey, listen.
K-Dub, thank you for gifting a sub. Appreciate that. Are there location restrictions on Underdog? Yes, but you need to know what your local rules are. I live in California. Sports betting is not legal, but fantasy is. So like considering that it's just higher or lower on fantasy numbers, it's allowed here. I don't know why, but I like it. Eventually, you're going to get that Smiz coin. You should. If you play Rainmakers, you should probably go to smizzle.tv/HQ and pick yourself up the HQ key that we have. It's 0.1 Ethereum. It gets you the HQ portion of our Discord, the token locked portion where we talk about NFTs. And very specifically, we talk about Rainmakers, which is a fantastic game that nobody watches my videos for. But it's something that has been a lot of free money, and it's a market game more than anything else. It has been an extremely profitable way for me to play daily fantasy this season. This is my week-long team right now. I played a bunch of guys from last night. I didn't have Goddard in this team. I play my extra cards in the full game, like the full roster stuff. I really focus on the 5-man rosters where I can double stack, and it's been extremely profitable basically all the year throughout. I focus mostly on the higher stakes, the Rainmaker tier, the legendary tier. I play down to elite, and then if I have lineups in rare and I have time to put them in, I do. But I've put a lot into these stacks right here. The Tua double stacks and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I pulled one on stream last week. These are the lineups that I have in right now. They are subject to change. Apparently somebody bought my Harrison Butker card, so I'm gonna have to find a rare card either in my collection or an elite card that I can plug into this game for Sunday night, because that's what happens. It's a market game, like I said. So I put this card up for a certain amount of money, probably like 25 or 30 bucks or whatever. And somebody bought it. That's $30 more that are right into my account. It's a market game first. And if you wanted all the best market information and surround yourself with a bunch of people that know what they're doing and are interested in the game, go pick up the HQ key, smizzle.tv/HQ. You get in Discord, you go to the Collabland bot, you get instant access to all of the NFT rooms, including the portion of the Discord that has the Rainmakers talk. We're going to add So Rare channels because people are playing So Rare NBA and golf. Plenty of daily fantasy. And now UFC is coming out as well for play within Rainmakers. So I'm suggesting, no financial advice, but like if you like playing DFS games that have a market involved, if you played Ultimate Team or anything like that, you should probably get yourself an HQ key and work from there. Pick 2 for season long this week. CEH, Swift, and Foreman. Please don't take this personally. I don't mean it this way. It's not to be taken personally. But my week 9 running back rankings are right here on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. Any start-sit questions can be answered by all of those videos that exist right there. Here is the main channel. We can go over to the videos on the channel. We have the Rainmakers Week 9 preview, Week 9 wide receiver rankings, running back rankings, QB rankings. Any start-sit questions you have. If you have, hey, which 2 of these 3 running backs should I start this week? Start the 2 that I have ranked higher. They're all right there for you. Producer Rosie does a fantastic job on those videos. I think it's great. How good did Dameon Pierce look last night? He looked the same way that he looked in preseason when I was in Houston to see that game. He's awesome. The most disturbing part about him, there's one thing, and then I'm going to get going. Matt Bowen from ESPN. Really nice guy. I've met him at a couple of the fantasy summits that I went to in Bristol to do the rankings, the ranking summit and everything. Really smart guy, career NFL player, high school coach now, you know, where he lives in Illinois. Like, he tweeted out last night, Dameon Pierce invites contact. And like, I replied to that, unfortunately. He ain't gonna last. You can't be a bowling ball and last a really long time in the NFL. I would prefer that he takes on contact if and when he needs to take on contact, but like, the best running backs last a long time because you never see them get into big collisions. Collisions are bad. Like, Barry Sanders never got hit hard, right? It was always glancing blows. He would just get tackled. He wouldn't get trucked, and he wasn't trying to truck people. Look at all the running backs who tried to truck people and they had really short careers. Their body just can't take that. So like, hopefully, like, I know that he's a violent runner and is great. It's fun to watch and he's impressive, but man, I want him to have a long career. I want him to play like 5, 6, 7, 8 years at running back, because like, he looks really good and fun. But like, you start inviting that contact, the body can't take that year over year over year. So it is what it is. I wish you guys the best of luck. Look out for another video right over there, and I'll see you on Sunday morning in the Anti-Tinkercast. Bye.
He's a legend.